तैयार करो, बोरी हम तैयार करेंगे। अगर जावे तो समझ लो कि बोरी तैयार है तुम्हारी। अगर घूम गया और उसने ठोक दिया आपको।
Can the party's spokesman explain it all away? Bad news for ducks. There's a crackdown on MPs' expenses, but don't worry too much. Officialdom's tonight decreed that MPs deserve a big pay rise. The BBC's glittering new headquarters have no sick bay. Pity.
I think the overwhelming focus was to get numbers out of the door as quickly as possible to say...
You know, it's a licensing person money. It's not your money. It's our money.
Also tonight, what were trade unions, Grandma? Britain has a long history of offering refuge to victims of persecution, but supposing it was instead offering sanctuary to an organisation which was using Britain as a base from which to threaten and persecute others. That's the accusation against the leader of an organisation called the MQM, a man called ALTAF HUSSAIN. The MQM is one of the most feared political organisations in Pakistan. Mr Hussain is accused of no fewer than 30 murders there, which he denies, and he now lives happily in North London, from whence he controls the brain and the brawn of his organisation, which dominates Pakistan's biggest city, Karachi. Owen Bennett-Jones reports.
Thursday, September the 16th, 2010, and CCTV catches senior MQM member Imran Farooq at Edgware Tube Station. He's walking towards the 204 bus stop and his murderers. After that, the CCTV coverage stopped. But the police believe he walked for another 10 minutes and then was stabbed to death outside his home. The police found a knife and a brick used to kill him, but there was very little else to go on. The first major breakthrough came over a year later.
The Pakistan authorities arrested two men, I believe in Karachi, during the year, and that was on the grounds of this murder. We are liaising with the Pakistan authorities to see how we pursue this investigation. It is very much a live investigation.
So far, the Pakistanis haven't handed anyone over, but the police here have launched a massive investigation into the murder of Imran Farooq, and they just arrested someone a couple of weeks ago at Heathrow. He's been bailed until September. They also raided this house, and it belongs to ALTAF HUSSAIN, the leader of the MQM. Around here, I wouldn't be surprised if many people didn't even know who he was. But back in Pakistan, he's one of the most famous politicians in the country. He's developed the practice of addressing thousands of his supporters in Karachi over the phone. They gather and listen to his voice. And after the raid on his home, he lashed out at the UK authorities.
Leave of the nation! ALTAF, ALTAF! Father of the nation!
ALTAF HUSSAIN has been a UK resident for over 2 decades. He's got a British passport. These are his party headquarters in Edgware. It may be a long way from Pakistan, but from here he exerts total control over his party. He denies any involvement in the murder of Imran Farooq. And to make the point, he very publicly mourned his former colleague's death. In their raids, the police found hundreds of thousands of pounds of unaccounted for cash, and that's led to a money laundering investigation. And the Metropolitan Police are also formally investigating ALTAF HUSSAIN for something else, whether he's using his London base to incite violence in Pakistan. By any standards, ALTAF HUSSAIN uses rough language.
अपना नाप तैयार करो, बोरी हम तैयार करेंगे। अगर जावे तो समझ लो कि बोरी तैयार है तुम्हारी। अगर घूम गया और उसने ठोक आपको तो फिर उसका इल्जाम हुसैन में आएगा या MQM पे आएगा। वो तुम्हारे बाप का पेट फाड़ कर।
The police are now assessing whether those speeches and others like them breach the law. So what does the British law say? We asked a London-based Urdu-speaking barrister to look at some of the clips and to make an assessment.
Well, for those to be potentially terrorism offences, one would have to have the use or threat of force, which seems to be there on some of the clips, made for a political cause, and the MQM is a political body, designed to influence the government, and all three seem to be made out. When one looks at the body of material that Newsnight has gathered, it does look as though there's a case to answer, because there is, it appears, an intention that the listener, or the person against whom a threat is being made, should take it seriously.
Highlighted here, the most senior MQM leader in Pakistan. He's listening to ALTAF HUSSAIN speaking about tearing open abdomens, and yet he insists his leader doesn't use violent language.
I categorically would deny and refute that Mr. Hussain would have ever had said what you are saying to anybody. This is just simply impossible.
Well, let's take the Supreme Court. They interpreted something he said as a threat, and they demanded an apology, and that's the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
If something that may have come as a result of a kind of some emotional outburst or gesture that may have come, so then we are open to criticism also, we are open to correction also, and that is what Mr. ALTAF HUSSAIN has always retracted from such statements which may have caused and may have hurt the sentiments of the people of Pakistan or the institutions of Pakistan.
We tried to contact former MQM members for this programme. Only one agreed to talk. Naeem Ahmed says he used to work for the party in Karachi and that its members there have killed people.
You know, I cannot count, but hundreds people.
Hundreds?
Yes, hundreds people were killed.
The MQM insists that it is a peaceful party, that it doesn't use violence.
No, they are not a peaceful party. They are militants group, and they are like a bunch of mafias.
Did you ever commit any acts of violence?
No, it wasn't my job. If I liked the violence, why I leave the party? It's an ideal party for violence. Yes. I left the party because of violence, because of militancy.
So what did you think of those young men in your district who were, you say, killing people in the name of the MQM?
I always try to convince them. It's not nice way. What you are doing, who is going to give you the order? They directly say we got an order from the London.
Life in Karachi is dangerous. After the recent elections, a well-known political and social campaigner in the city was shot dead outside her home. Over the years, I've heard stories of how the police simply kill suspected MQM militants on the streets, meaning the MQM wants revenge. This Pakistani policeman got asylum in Europe because of threats from the Taliban, but also from the MQM. We've changed his name and voice and obscured his image.
I think 80% of MQM terrorists arrested by the police are involved in the murder and other terrorist activities.
And when you made these arrests, how did the MQM respond? What did they say to you?
MQM tried to give a statement against me. Also, they threatened to kill me, and they killed my other colleagues.
How many of your colleagues did they kill?
I think 20.
You say the MQM have killed all these police officers, and yet, you know, there are very few convictions in Pakistan. Why are these people never convicted?
Nobody wants to give evidence against MQM.
Why don't people want to give evidence?
If they try to give evidence against MQM, So MQM will kill them and their families.
Depending how you look at it, ALTAF HUSSAIN is charismatic or eccentric. On TV, he bolsters his image as a modern liberal man. But his reputation in Karachi is so fierce, many people there try to avoid even saying his name in public. So why is he able to operate from London? It's not as if Pakistan hasn't complained. For 20 years, Pakistani leaders have asked London to control ALTAF HUSSAIN. The police are investigating, but what about the government? This is Britain's Deputy High Commissioner to Pakistan paying ALTAF HUSSAIN a visit in North London. And the MQM says that whenever it needs British visas, the Home Office issues them almost without exception. So why does Britain keep its doors open to the MQM in this way? One member of the House of Lords who's been openly critical of the MQM told us that he won't go to Karachi because he fears if he did so he could be killed. Another member of the Lords says she doesn't ask questions about the MQM because, as she put it, she's got a child to worry about. It all prompts a question: why do British officials, so keen to talk about promoting democracy in Pakistan, deal with a party that privately, they say, uses violence to achieve its objectives? This letter may help answer that. Written by ALTAF HUSSAIN, it arrived in number 10 within weeks of 9/11. In it, ALTAF HUSSAIN offers Tony Blair human intelligence on jihadis. For years, the MQM and the Foreign Office refused to acknowledge this letter as genuine. But through a Freedom of Information request, Newsnight has established that the letter is authentic and did reach number 10, who passed it on to the Foreign Office.
It's a curious thing. On the one hand, here you have this party which has a very complicated and controversial reputation in Pakistan, being run by remote control at a distance of 4,000 miles by its leader from this very city. On the other hand, it offers Britain some degree of influence in Pakistan.
And also protection against the jihadis.
Yes, the MQM has played very heavily over the years on the idea that it presents a bulwark against Islamist extremism in Pakistan's most populated city.
There's no doubt ALTAF HUSSAIN is under ever greater pressure. And for many in Pakistan, the pressing question is this: will Britain put him on trial?
Well, Farooq Sattar, the parliamentary leader of the MQM in Pakistan, is here now. When ALTAF HUSSAIN says he's going to tear out somebody's abdomen, is he planning to do so personally?
Jeremy Paxman, what I have to say after I watched this documentary, that BBC, though, is a very reputable organization, but it seems that there has been some influence of the pro-Taliban and radical forces while this documentary was being prepared.
You don't deny that he said this. You don't deny he said that he would tear out someone's abdomen.
Whatever his statements have been
just
televised,
aired personally, that's all.
They have been all referred to out of context. And they have not been, there is no reference to context to it in which he has said that. They've been they're irrelevant.
True. When he says to people, we're going to put you in a body bag,
he has not said, no.
Yes,
no,
he has.
No, he has
it's
not
on
said,
tape.
No, he has not said that, and he just could not say that. Whatever he has said it, people
I'm
were
letting
just...
you know your body bag is ready.
People were just laughing. So it is because a malicious propaganda and a media trial has been going on against a secular middle and working class party, that is MQM, by the perpetrators of status quo and the political corrupt culture. So they have been, and a section of the Pakistani media has been behind it. And now I'm seeing this documentary and story in the international reputable media. To my shock, I'm shocked to see this misinterpretation.
Are you also alleging that the people who say that former members of your party that murders were ordered from London to be carried out in Pakistan they're also just having a joke, are
I
they?
would categorically deny and repute that there is any proof of any order coming from London, and as a result of that anybody got killed.
I see.
Yeah.
Can
I
you
would
help us?
categorically.
Can you help us with the
and
fact?
such things have to, even in Pakistan,
Can you help us with the fact?
they have to withstand.
Right.
The
Let me ask you
trial
something very, very
in the court
simple
of
that
law.
happened here.
They have not been vindicated or substantiated.
How much money was found inside your offices here and inside ALTAF Hussein's house?
I know that some amount of money was seized. I would not know that, because it is a matter of investigation.
Yes.
So I would not like to...
Our understanding is it's about £150,000
whatever
in the
it
office
is,
and about £250,000 in his house.
Whatever
Where
it
did
is,
it come from?
That since it is a matter of investigation, I would not like to comment anything further.
Where did it come from? In cash?
Whenever,
Hundreds of thousands
whenever
of pounds.
any court or any proper investigation will ask me, I'll respond to that. I don't think that this has to be made a subject of media trial. That any money that was found in anybody's possession should mean that
these are vast sums of money.
An illegal.
What was it for? What was it for, this money?
Whatever it is, it was for. But what I am saying is that it is a matter of investigation. So let the investigation be completed.
Don't you know what
and
it was for?
And then see, because no one was arrested, number one, as a result of that.
Yet.
No one was arrested. There was no charge framed against either Mr. ALTAF Hussain or anybody in the party.
Yet.
And then there is no court case made as of now.
Yet.
So I think it's better to see how the developments unfold in future.
And if I suggest to you that there was actually a money laundering operation going on there, what do you say?
It is simply that you have a right to say whatever you want to say, but you cannot be a judge on that. You cannot say that simply during a raid, if some money was found during the raid on a house where Mr. ALTAF Hussain lived, or in any office, so that directly is interpreted as if it was a illegally gotten money, or it was out of some illegal means that the money was. So
you'll cooperate with all these investigations, will you?
We will. We have been, even in the investigation of the murder of Dr. Imran Farooq. Categorically, we have stated right from the day one.
Well, of course,
that we want the arrest of the real culprits.
Which led to the raid on your leader's house, wasn't it?
If even it was, then we have not actually objected to the raid on the house. We have objected to the technicalities into that. That when the raid was carried out, documents were taken away. And if the money was also taken away, no receipt or acknowledgement of that was given.
Oh, I see. So you knew there was some money taken away?
Yeah. I am saying that some money was seized. I am not saying that it was not.
So when your leader says that this is some conspiracy by Britain, he's wrong, is he? Because you want to cooperate with this investigation.
Yeah, but as soon as we see that the investigation is not being restricted into the investigation of the murder of Dr. Imran Farooq, but it is now going into it is investigating the procedures of the party and the operational things of the party, which we see has no direct connection with Dr. Imran Farooq's murder, as far as we perceive. So we say it in response that we have a right to say that when all legal formalities are not being observed properly.
Okay.
That is our right. And when no charge has been framed against anybody, nobody was arrested. And there is nothing that I could say beyond that. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Now, nice work if you can get it. The independent body, which considers what our rulers have paid, thinks they ought to get more. Tomorrow they'll say they should get over 11% more. Public sector pay rises are being capped at 1%. MPs, in the judgment of the organisation set up after some of them were discovered with their hands in the till, ought to get over £7,000 a year extra, but their pensions and expenses will suffer. Allegra Stratton's here.